Gurubhyo Namaha. Vidyapita Vidhataram Vidyavaridhi Chandiram Vidyarthi Vatsalam Vande Mahamahima Sadguru. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We all are familiar with the saying, Na Madhava Samo Devo, Na cha Madhva Samo Guruhu, Na Tadvakya Samam Shastram, Na cha Tasya Samah Puman. What is the meaning of this shloka? Na Madhava Samo Devo. There is no God equal to Lord Madhava. Here Madhava in the sense Lord Vishnu itself, the Supreme Being, the ultimate reality. Nachas Madhva Samo Guruhu. There is no Guru, there is no teacher equal to Sri Madhwacharya. Natad Vakya Samam Shastram. There is no line which is equal, there is no Shastra which is equal to the divine words of Sri Madhwacharya itself. Nacha Tasya Samah Puman. There is no person equal to the one who knows this eternity of Madhwacharya and Madhva philosophy. This child Vasudeva, he himself was the incarnation of Lord Vayudeva itself. He took birth on this earth especially to teach Madhva philosophy and to establish our Madhva Siddhanta, our Dvaita Siddhanta. He explained the supremacy of Lord Vishnu in all his scriptures and teachings. The writer Narayana Panditacharya explained the childhood of Vasudeva in a very melodious way. In the previous part, we have learnt the history of Udupi, the Parishrama Kshetra, the history of Lord Parshurama, his reason of birth, the holy couple Madhyageha Bhatta and Vedavati Devi, their austerities performed to Lord Ananteshwara, the boon presented to them as the birth of Lord Vayudeva itself, and the birth of Madhwacharya and naming him as Vasudeva. After the birth and naming ceremony of Vasudeva, there is a Shastra, there is a ritual known as Nishkramana Shastra. This is the time the child is taken out of the house for the first time, because before this the child would be in a very neo-infancy stage and it would be very much prone to many diseases and infections. So once attaining the age of 3 months, the child would be taken to a temple, to their house deity for the first time. Lord Madhyageha Bhatta took the child Vasudeva to Lord Ananteshwara itself because he believed Madhwacharya's birth was a boon to him. It was presented by Lord Ananteshwara himself as his blessings. Hence, Madhyageha Bhatta took Vasudeva to Lord Ananteshwara itself, to Udupi. On their way back, they had to pass through a dense forest. The forest was considered haunted, and almost it was past midnight. Here, even today, that place where the situation took place, this place is called as Sandalike Padi, and even today, people fear to roam in the morning times because that place is considered haunted today till date. That day they had to return to Pajaka at any cost, and it was the only way possible and the nearest way. So, taking the Lord's name, they all started their journey towards Pajaka. Suddenly, one of the elderly crew members, as if possessed by a ghost, he started behaving abnormally and started vomiting blood. Everyone was dumbstruck and feared. They were wondering, how did the ghost spare Vasudeva? Suddenly, the ghost which was possessed in the elderly man, the ghost replied, it was completely powerless against the child Vasudeva. It could not even go near the child because the child had something magical in him, something unnatural in him. This was the superhuman powers possessed by Vasudeva in his infancy stage itself. That day, it was due to Vasudeva, the whole party members, the whole crew were spared from the affliction and death caused by the ghost. Madhyageha Bhatta faced utter poverty throughout his life. He was rich in terms of knowledge, in terms of jnana and spirituality, but in terms of money, he could hardly meet the two ends. Vedavati Devi and Madhyageha Bhatta couldn't afford even a glass of milk to satisfy their child's hunger. Seeing so, their neighbor Mudillaya, he donated a holy cow to the holy couple. The cow would give liters of milk every day, and this way the child's hunger was satisfied. Now let us look at a point. Donating a small amount to a holy person, to a Brahmin itself, we get a lot of punya. Now, donating to the Guru, to the Jagat Guru, Sri Madhwacharya, that too in the time of a need, to the Lord Vayudeva itself, and not just donating it, donating the holy cup to the holiest person on earth, how much punya must have Modilaya done? His good deeds paid him immediately. He was blessed with so much fortune. In his next birth, he was born to his son itself in his next birth. What fortune did he achieve? Because he was born to his son itself, and he could listen, he could learn all the Shastra directly from Madhwacharya itself. This way, he was blessed very much. Madhyageha Bhatta was very poor, as we all know. Vedavati Devi used to accompany him everywhere so that they could share their work and make the two ends meet. One day, Vedavati Devi had to leave behind Madhwacharya, to leave behind Vasudeva and go to work. She fed the baby and left him, and assigned his sister Kalyani Devi to look after the baby for some time. She would return back in some time. Saying so, she left for work and completely got immersed in the work itself. The child here started crying. Kalyani Devi, who was just a small kid, who was just 8 years old, she tried all ways possible to console the child. But the child wouldn't stop crying. Vasudeva wouldn't stop crying. She assumed that Vasudeva must be crying out of hunger. She found a bowl of horse gram there. She immediately fed the baby. The child digested it, and started playing again. Suddenly, Vedavati Devi, on the other hand, she remembered that she had left the child itself, and it has been so much time. All the way she was cursing herself. Upon returning home, she got to know what had happened. Madhyageha Bhatta and Vedavati Devi, they were completely restless for continuous 2 days, because horse gram is such a thing which is even hard to digest for the elders itself. How could a baby which was just in the age of months, how could it digest? The parents became restless and feared something ill would happen. But to their surprise, the baby was all cheerful and playing throughout the day with least ill effects. This way, Vasudeva showed another wonder in his childhood itself. Here, during the Samudra Mathana, the churning of ocean for the sake of Amrita, Vayudeva digested the Hala Visha itself. Is it really astonishing for him to digest a small bowl of horse gram? Similarly, once Vasudeva, without the knowledge of his parents, he carried the tail of a bull and went behind it for grazing. Whole day they searched for Vasudeva, but they couldn't find. They had completely all their hopes. Vasudeva, he went out for a complete day with a bull which grazed all around in the forest. He simply caught the tail and the bull carried him away. The anxious moment of Madhyageha Bhatta and Vedavati Devi ended in joy when they saw their son returning back in the evening, holding the tail of the great bull itself. Madhyageha Bhatta thanked the Lord for giving back the beloved child. The same way, once it so happened, Vasudeva, after returning from his play, he saw Madhyageha Bhatta and another person who were immersed in deep thoughts. It was so, Bhatta had taken a loan from him, and at present he doesn't have had such amount of money to repay back the loan. Vasudeva relieved his father from the debt by tendering tamarind seeds, and astonishingly the tamarind seeds seemed as gold coins and diamond coins to the man, and this man obtained Purushartha. Vasudeva lisped and toddled as a child of uncommon beauty and leaking greatness. Thus he gladdened the hearts of pious and religious people and good men as the sun hidden under the woods would make the lotus blossom. When God and Bhaktas manifest themselves, they act like men and serve as a models of conduct. The poet in this sarga explained many events of Vasudeva in his daily life in a very melodious way. Vasudeva, or Vayudeva precisely, he accepted the Supreme Lord's decision to be born on earth with folded hands. He is the fittest person for this job. He is the one praised and felicitated by all the devatas, by all the suras for the successful completion of Lord's mission. What is the Lord's mission? To establish our philosophy and preach our Dvaita Siddhanta. See, till now we have seen the incidents which have happened in Vasudeva's life. What does we gain? What Tattva Jnana do we gain from all this? Madhwacharya demonstrated a very high ideal that one should relieve one's parents of the difficulties that arrive in many forms. Vasudeva, even as a child, he discharged the obligation of his father by clearing the debt incurred by him. The neighbor of Madhyageha Bhatta, Mudilaya, gained Mokshaprada Jnana, the knowledge which is the way to salvation, by just giving a milch cow for the supply of milk to Vasudeva. Here we can understand that charity which is offered to the worthy persons, to deserving persons, which it would in turn give us very fulfilling results and precious results. Another truth is there is nothing great or powerful than God's desire, than the mercy of God. The whole party consisting of Madhyageha Bhatta's family and relatives were saved by the Lord from the affliction of ghosts at midnight in the midst of dense forest. All these examples, they serve as guidelines for ideal living beings. This is a very good kavya which inculcates the principles of dharmic life and in a very suggesting manner, appealing even to common people, even to common individuals. The study of this great Sumadha Vijaya will open the doors to all the philosophical mansion of Sri Madhwacharya and is virtually an auspicious symbol of the prosperity to deserve the divine grace. By this, we complete the second sarga of Sri Sumadha Vijaya Mahakavya, written by Narayana Panditacharya. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.